we built the structure. It's looking phenomenal. We're taking pictures of it. The content team is out there. It's doing everything we wanted, mirroring back the landscape of the desert, just looking really cool. And we're literally about 24 hours away from doors opening and getting that first round of kind of celebrities coming down the hill for us.
Right.
And we pulled up to site that morning to kind of do final touches and get the interior built out. We were hit with about 120 to 140 mile an hour windstorm.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to In the Unlikely Event, the podcast that takes you behind the scenes of live events that almost never happened. I'm your host, Rick Kiley. Every episode, we sit down with people who create some of the world's biggest events and ask them to relive the moments that no one in the audience knew about. Before we jump into today's story, I'm going to start by recognizing Out of Office as the content sponsor of In the Unlikely Event. Their support helps us continue sharing the real stories behind the live events industry, and we're grateful to have them as a partner. Today's guest is Out of Office founder Brad Jackson. After more than a decade producing campaigns for some of the world's biggest brands, Brad set out to solve the problems he'd spent his career living. Today, Out of Office helps brands, agencies, freelancers turn creative ideas into real-world experiences faster through AI, industry intelligence, and a trusted network of talent. He's passionate about the future of experiential marketing, creative entrepreneurship, and helping people spend less time in the weeds and more time building work that moves culture. Brad, welcome to In the Unlikely Event.
Thanks, Rick. Great to be here.
So glad you're here. We're excited about this. This is going to be great. Let me set the stage for the unlikely event we're discussing today. The year is 2018. Adidas wants to make a statement during Coachella. Not another party, not another gifting suite. They want something that turns heads before people even reach the festival. So Brad and his team dreamed up a striking black mirrored structure sitting among the California wind farms. A futuristic roadside stop where influencers can pick up exclusive shoes and festival goers can purchase limited releases on their drive into Coachella. The client loved it. The city approved it. Months of planning go into making this impossible idea a reality. But then Mother Nature joins the party. Winds begin gusting at near hurricane force, putting enormous pressure on the build and their operational permits. As a result of the wind and some challenging bureaucracy, less than 24 hours before opening, the city shuts it down. The entire activation suddenly can't open, and Brad has one night to invent an entirely new experience. Brad, let's lace them up and get into it.
That's it in a nutshell. This is a big one. Literally life-changing. My career kind of changed paths after that, which I'm sure we'll get into. But at the time, I had moved from Chicago out to LA, and I was working for NVE. And this was a big account for us with Adidas. And obviously Coachella, being an LA-based agency, it was always big for us every year.
Adidas, great brand. Coachella, big place. What were they asking you to do there? What was the brief? What were you creating?
Yeah, and I was a producer there at the time. The brief came in to promote their new shoe. It was the Clima Ultra Boost. So the whole thing was about hot weather, ventilation, good out in the desert, if you will.
Okay.
And so the brief was all around how do we get influencers, celebrities, and fans of the festival to get the shoes in their hands as they head out to the festival.
Talk to me about that and how that idea came to be.
It is pretty wild. I remember just like being a Midwest Chicago boy and living in LA, my first time heading out to Palm Springs, and you come over this hilltop and kind of drop down into the valley of the desert. And one of the first things you hit is just this enormous windmill farm. Like they seem to just go on forever and ever. And that's kind of like an iconic moment before you're coming into Palm Springs and then eventually further into Coachella. Yeah. And so amazing strategy, creative production teams at NVE, we kind of brainstormed around like what would be that eye-catching thing that people would notice off the side of the road. It kind of hits them on their way to the festival before you get to all the noise and the craziness near the festival grounds. And that iteration just turned further and further into this idea of like a black mirrored structure that almost looks like a mirage kind of sitting off in the desert underneath these windmills. And it just makes you kind of stop and look and wonder, like, what is that? How did it get here? And then for those that are pulling off the exit to go to the experience, it's even more exciting because it's like you can kind of see it. You're not sure what it is, but you're ready to get over there and check it out.
Yeah. And I imagine like Coachella, once you're inside the footprint, if you will, it is hard to get people's attention. So I love the idea of capturing people before they actually enter the space. You were probably like, this is going to be a great way to ensure that we are not being distracted by other things that are going on. And I'm sure it sounds like seeing a giant black mirrored structure pop up in the middle of the desert would be eye-catching and unique. So talk to me then about how is everything supposed to work? So I'm an influencer, which I am not, but I aspire to be. But let's say I'm an influencer. I love shoes. I know everything about it. I'm coming in, I'm driving out to Coachella in my really nice car, and I'm going to pull off with this structure. Did I have an appointment? Like, how did people get there, and what happened when I arrived?
Yeah. So there was a whole kind of influencer celebrity management team that Adidas has, and they've got their partners and celebrities that they've worked with all the time, and their lists of people that they wanted to kind of seed the shoes to. The idea is we picked a spot that was close to an exit, so you could get off the road, head over there, and then just stop by quickly, and there would be like kind of this retail experience inside of the black mirrored structure that you would go into. Get your shoe, get fitted for it, learn a little more about like the Clima Boost and all of that kind of shoe technology, and then keep on the road down to the festival.
So by appointment only, very high touch, sounds like a cool experience. How hard or how easy, I actually don't know, was it to find land in the middle of the desert near the exit on the way to Coachella that you could, I don't know, lease, I guess, for the period of time? It doesn't seem very straightforward. How did that happen?
Not at all. But these are my favorite projects. They're the best.
Right.
But all my producer friends out there can relate to the amazing creative ideas that we get to be a part of, and then us production people having to bring them to life.
There's sometimes a disconnect.
Sometimes a small disconnect between the really, really pretty rendering and what is actually going to happen. So
I love it when the biz dev guys come in and say like, I sold this, and like the EP's like, you sold what?
Yes, it was one of those moments. But also I found myself during the pitch of like, I was like, I just want to make this happen. It's so cool. It's such a cool concept. So I was bought in too, and I just wanted to figure it out. We luckily had plenty of pre-production time. So this was not one of those last minute, like we got to figure it out. So the team and we probably went out to the desert, I don't know, at least 6 different times before we actually started load in. We found a guy who did like windmill tours, and he's like in the middle of nowhere. I mean, there's nothing around this thing except windmills, but he's got like old versions of windmills kind of throughout the years, what they looked like.
And then
on his actual property are like real working windmills. And he's carved out a section of the huge windmill farm field area. So we went in there, and it's literally just a trailer pretty much, and introduced ourselves and told him about this crazy idea we had.
Right.
And would he ever be open to it? And then that kind of started to crack the door on like, okay, is there any like space here that's even level? Are there
Right.
bathrooms here? Is there power here?
All right. So my question is there an official name for someone who's like a windmill expert? Is there like a wind science like title that
I
he had?
I think there is.
All
This
right.
guy, just, judging by his appearance and leathery skin, and just how he lived his
Leathery
life,
skin.
he was he was a diehard windmill expert.
All right. I'm picturing like some guy in one of the Mad Max movies. Am I off? All
You're
right,
not
cool.
you're not
All
that far
right.
off. No,
Nice.
no.
Okay, cool. So, all right. Well, all right. So you found your space, and you have a windmill expert, which is good because the wind becomes the centerpiece of the story now that we're talking about. Was the wind something that you, as producers, anticipated potentially being a problem? I mean, you're in a place where windmills are collecting wind for energy. So I assume you have to know that there are decently strong winds in the area regularly. Like, to what degree were you like, okay, wind is a potential big issue here. How are we going to deal with it?
Yeah, wind and heat were definitely not our friend from day one. And luckily, this guy who owned the business, he had kind of charts and graphs and everything around predicting the winds and what happens every year. But those windmills are there for a reason.
Yeah.
It's like I forget what it is, but it's up there in the top windiest places on Earth. And that's why they're all packed in, like right there where the mountain kind of meets the desert.
Right.
We knew that would be a challenge, but that time of year, um, we we figured we could plan for it. It was like, 60 to 80 mile per hour kind of caps were what they had seen over the years. And we've
Okay.
all seen also like those videos from Coachella where the dust is just like, going crazy,
Yeah.
and it happens, and they're
Yeah.
running their
Shit's
big
blown away. Yeah.
stages.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. So we're like, we plan for it. We'll get engineering on it, and we'll make it happen.
All right. So then let's move into, we love this idea. It's a great idea. We're all excited about it. You're solving the problems. You're getting it built. You get through the load in. You're expecting 60 to 80 mile per hour winds
At the most. Yeah.
at the most. And hopefully, a cool breeze at 40
Yeah.
coming in most of the time. When did you start to realize that things were going a little bit out of bounds? Like when did that first creep up into your mind?
Yeah. Before the winds really even picked up and all of that, there was just these little things of like, I think we were out there for almost a week to build this thing. And so you're spending every day, all day in the heat, in this environment. We've got the whole gamut of heavy equipment on site, and everything that we thought we would need. But there's just like the fine dust and the sand getting into everything. And you're like, okay, then the heat is like expanding and contracting some of the materials that we're using to like build the facade on the outside of the truss structure. And then we just got dunked on with the ultimate wind problem, that Mother Nature had to serve up to us.
So yeah, expound on dunked on a little bit there. So like,
Yeah.
just what happened?
Yes. It's been 8 years or so I can now kind of laugh about it a little bit. It was pretty horrible at the time. So we built the structure. It's looking phenomenal. We're taking pictures of it. The content team is out there. It's doing everything we wanted, mirroring back the landscape of the desert, just looking really cool. And we're literally about 24 hours away from doors opening and getting that first round of kind of celebrities coming down the hill for us.
Right.
And we pulled up to site that morning to kind of do final touches and get the interior built out. And we were hit with about 120 to 140 mile an hour windstorm, which was just like unprecedented for that time of the year. I remember we had some friends who were actually working operations at Coachella, and they were kind of in a bind over there too and had to shut down production. At that same time, I mean, we couldn't even get out of our cars to open the doors because it was just so in such intense wind. One of the windmills above us spun out of control and literally started on fire and started sparking. And those things are built to take this. Like, that's what they're there for. So this was at like 7 a.m. as the sun's like coming over the mountains, and we are just in it. And there's like debris flying around, and I'm watching this whole structure that we've worked so hard on just rattle and shake in the wind. So,
oh my God.
Yeah.
So you're in the car and you can't get out of the car, and you're just watching this thing like perhaps get ripped apart. Like it's in a.
We're sitting there with like, we're all in 4 or 5 different cars, all the crew guys, everybody showing up to work. And we're all just sitting in our cars talking to each other on the radio. Just like, man, we hope that this doesn't peel apart on us here. This is bad.
Right. Right. Okay. And so this is the day before the activation's supposed to start?
Correct. Yep.
Okay. Talk to me, like, did they have to have some sort of approval process before you could open the event? Was that part of the arrangement with the city?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, because this was a pretty serious temporary structural build. So the city of Palm Springs was really involved with like what our engineering plans were, getting all that approved, going through rounds of that, having to drive from LA out to the city to actually like present to them all of that. So yeah, they were very involved. But like I said, even they had kind of let us know, when you engineer this, plan for 80 miles an hour as like the top.
Right.
So when all of a sudden you get like 120 like constant and then like 140 bursts of wind, no one saw that coming. So the city knew that we were out there building this close to the highway. And they made a visit shortly after to come out and see what's going on. Yeah.
A planned visit or a special visit?
A nice special visit, as if the stress wasn't high enough.
Nice special visit. It's like, I love when the fire marshal shows up like an hour before your event opens. Mm-hmm. Yeah. It sounded like one of those. Okay. So they show up, and it sounds like the structure, from what you told me, like it is surviving this major windstorm. So it's been built well.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. Does it, are they showing up in the middle of this like 140 mile per hour gust, or did they like wait till it died down?
No, it pretty much sustained for the majority of the day. Like we really couldn't do much.
Right.
About midday, maybe like 1 o'clock, it started to calm down a little, but that whole day was pretty intense. Okay. So yeah, they pulled up that morning, looking to check on what's our plan, what's going on.
Right. Was Mad Max with them at the time, or no? He's not part of the team?
No, not part of the team. I think he was in his trailer, maybe canceling the tours for that day.
Okay. So then how did that meeting go? So they showed up, it's 100 mile per hour winds.
Yeah.
They met with you?
They met with me.
Did you get in the car with them? You know, like, where did you meet?
Yeah. Sat in the car, and then it kind of calmed down and we walked out towards the structure, and it was super intense because obviously I'm concerned just about getting doors open. Sure. I mean, there's still stuff inside that we need to wrap up, and I'm like, nobody can go in there. It's just too intense right now. So I'm looking at it as like, we're just burning hours of like setup time. And I'm still like, we'll get doors open tomorrow. Maybe we got to work all night, but like, we're going to do it. Then they come out and they've got a totally different vantage point on all of this, which is today's winds were crazy. Tomorrow the winds might be back, and this weekend we don't know. This whole situation you've got going on here is unsafe, and we can't have you let people into this temporary structure. So boom, add that to the stress as well. Yeah.
Delayed getting set up, and hey, don't bother because no one can use your thing. That's an awesome message to get. Was there, I mean, did they offer you any sort of relief? Did they say, if this calms down by this point, they were just like, boom, lock it up?
Yep, basically zero alternatives because I think that they were worried themselves. Just with like influx of people coming into town that weekend, and I mean, they got a lot on their plate of like a bunch of other permits happening
Right.
too in the city and all of that. So they came out and just said, this is unprecedented, unpredictable. We
Right.
need to close you down. They slapped a huge orange sticker on the front of it and basically chained up the doors on me. And they're like, nobody can go
Yeah.
into your temporary structure.
Right. So you were just worried about how am I going to get all this stuff done when the winds were interrupting, and now you've already flipped to we can't use our whole space that we just built.
Yeah.
Um,
To
okay.
the extent of if you go in there, we're going to have problems, including you being arrested and big fines and stuff like that. So it's kind of like, all right, um,
Look,
that's
sometimes you have to suffer for your craft, man. I
I
just
know. Yeah.
just got to get in there.
I
Um,
was right there.
so all right. So then somebody had to deliver this news, I imagine, to your client. I don't, unless
Yes.
they were on site with you.
No.
Um, was that you who got to deliver the news?
Yes, that was a quick team call, internal team call, updates across everybody,
Yeah.
brainstorming,
Yeah.
all listening to all ideas, all options from like crew guys and even just like the heavy equipment operators who are on site to the fabricators all the way up to leadership. Just like, what are we going to do here?
Right.
Um,
Right.
yeah.
Because not doing it wasn't an option, right? Like there
Yeah.
was.
At that point it was time to pivot. And I'd say a lot of people were like, well, let's just do it. Let's just go in there. Let's, what, and it's, that just clearly was not an
Oh, like
option
defy the
as
city?
defy the city, or maybe things will
Oh,
calm
all
down.
right.
Like we'll just, we'll be all prepped
Got it, got it,
outside and
got
they'll
it, got
come
it.
back and they'll let us in. No, I could tell that
Right.
this is not a quick thing.
Okay.
So we gotta really pivot hard.
Right. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. And Adidas was supportive of the pivot. I mean,
So then after a lot of brainstorming, we obviously had to update them. And,
right.
that was a handful of meetings going all the way into the evening, which included this idea of like we had shipping containers on site that we were using for like storage and back of house and product and all this kind of stuff. And we kind of came up with this idea of could we build a little shipping container like village area, move that kind of stuff, block it from the wind, still make it look really cool. We had these like camo like shade things that we were using for back of house. Like, can we still kind of make it look like fitting for the environment? And so that was like later in the evening. I'm literally drawing on like scrap paper and like napkins and stuff and like taking just pictures on my phone and texting it to everybody who's on the call. So it's, yeah, very just scrappy, like all ideas, all ears, let's go.
Right.
Trying to map out what we're going to do.
Was there a point during that day, that windstorm, where, and after you got the big orange sticker there, were you ever like, this isn't going to happen? What, like, were people contemplating a no-go altogether at some point?
I think so. Me personally, I was like, we'll find a way. We'll do something to
Right.
accomplish their goal of like shoes in hand. But
Right.
I would say there's definitely a lot of people on site who like, no pun intended, the wind was taken out of their
Sure.
sails for
Sure,
sure.
sure, sure.
Cause we're all like sunburned and just beat to hell after a week of being out there. And,
No, that sounds brutal, man.
yeah,
That sounds
and
like a
then
rough one.
it all goes away. And it's also like, it was scary. It was dangerous, like very dangerous. And I think it spooked a lot of people, who were just on site, like working. And they're like,
Right.
we don't know if that's gonna, cause it literally flipped on in like minutes. Like we don't want to be up on the roof of this thing or on a forklift or,
Sure.
anything when that happens again. So people were
Sure.
kind of spooked for that whole
Yeah,
afternoon.
yeah, yeah. That makes sense. That makes sense.
Yeah.
At what point did you get approval to like build this secondary space? Like how far out, it's just from a timing perspective, how far out are you from people showing up where you got the green light to do this work?
Yeah, it was like dinner time the night before where people were going to be showing up the next morning to get their shoes. So,
right, so we're at 15 hours, 16 hours, something like that.
Yeah, something like that. And
Okay.
I would say it was one of those moments of like, you never really got the full green light. You just needed to make moves and
You
kind of
just started.
let
Yeah.
people know this is what we're going to do. Cause like the shipping containers were there anyways. So it's like getting the heavy equipment. Let's just start moving stuff around and hope that this runs up the chain overnight and we get a green light, or at least we have something in the morning.
Right. Did everyone just say like, we're rolling up our sleeves, we're working all night,
Yeah.
People just jumped on board?
Yep. I think this was a moment of like the whole team coming together in a amazing way. Cause even if you weren't the one on the calls or getting yelled at by the city or any, you could just sense the stress and kind of the like, also the letdown, like the it's just a bummer. We can't use this thing that we've built. So it's kind of like, all right, let's figure out what we're going to do. And we're here, let's turn on the floodlights and we're working.
Awesome. Yeah.
Luckily the wind dies down and it's not as hot at night. So we had that.
Were you up all night or like, did it take 4 hours? Like
pretty much. I mean, maybe I got like an hour of sleep or something. I don't remember, but yeah, it was a big push because we had to take basically that whole kind of retail experience concept and bring that out as well.
Did the city have to come back? I mean, once they slapped the label on the door and said, don't use this, if you were not using it, if you were doing something else, did they still need to show up and say it was okay? Like what was their involvement at that point?
Yeah. So in parallel to all this happening, I was still trying to push to get approval to be able to open. Maybe it wouldn't be the next day, but it could be the following day. So I'm on the phone with the engineering firm back in LA and also backup engineering firms of like, everybody, can you look at what we have on site? Look at the ballasts and the weight and everything that we do have and how we've built this. Can anybody stamp this for a higher wind rating? Like, I know we didn't ask for it, but now can somebody test it and get us a better stamp? Can we move heavy equipment to position it in a way? Can we do anything to like get this restamped and approved by the city? So I was kind of running that parallel and staying in communication with the city of like, okay, if I get this, can we get a sign off? If I get this, can we get a sign off? But like I said, they're busy too. So it was kind of a constant juggling act. So then the next day they came back to one, make sure that we weren't in there. Because the next morning was not as windy.
To arrest you. They were ready to arrest. Yeah.
They were ready. They literally came with a police officer because they saw from the highway, somebody had said like we hadn't left the site and we were still there. But they never told us like we couldn't do this shipping container situation. So we got creative and built that out. They showed back up to check on us and explained to them we are not in the structure at all. Following all the rules, still trying to get a engineering stamp for you, and kind of I'll keep you updated. And then they hung around for a while and watched us to make sure, even to the point where guests actually started coming, like this first round of influencers and people, and they stayed. But I did kind of work out something with them, which we can talk about.
Workout.
we
let's go. Let's talk about it. What are we talking about here?
We came to an agreement with this help of somebody who was very involved in the city. We'll call him the fixer. Showed up to kind of help move the city around a little bit. And we all came up with the idea of, can you please take the big awful chain off the front of the doors. Um,
Okay.
can we move some shelving from inside the kind of retail shelving we had up to the
Okay.
front edge of the
Yeah.
doors so that people could actually walk up to the structure, take a photo in front of it, open the double
Right.
doors, and then there'd be a shelving unit right there displaying all the shoes. And that was a middle ground that we all, with a little help and
Right.
a lot of talking for a while, came to a conclusion of like, can you move the big orange ugly sticker to the side where people can't see it?
Right.
And can you take the big fat chain off the door for us, please? So we got there. We
So
finally got there.
you got the fanciest step and repeat in all of Coachella.
Yes, absolutely. The most expensive photo moment. Yeah.
Oh man. I love this guy, the fixer. He's just like a really experienced expediter of some kind, I imagine.
I
Or
didn't ask many questions. Yeah.
probably better that you
Yeah.
didn't.
Yeah.
That's great. Okay. Well, it's always nice to have some luck and some specialized talent on your side.
Yeah.
Okay, so then people start showing up and getting their shoes and doing this photo moment. Was there a moment where you finally felt like you could, breathe a sigh of relief? Like, all right, we
Hmm.
got a solution. It's working. People are happy, etc. Did that come through?
Kind of by the end of day one, and also just seeing people pull up, park, get out, and still thinking, this is awesome. Like, this is so cool.
Right.
And they're hanging out and like, at first the client, they all come on site and they're bummed. Like, I don't blame them at all.
Yeah. Yeah.
But then they see that to the consumer, like, yeah, they're kind of wondering why they can't go in there, but not really. Like, there's still a bunch of other stuff for them to do. And then they get the
Right.
shoes and they're pumped and they're talking to the staff. And then we kind of set up this like photo booth thing where the structure was in the backdrop of the consumers holding their shoes. And so it was kind of
Right.
still cool, and treated it more like an art installation or like an art
Yeah.
stunt than, oh, you
Right.
were actually supposed to be able to go in there. Sorry. So I
Right.
think once that kind of worked through the system, everybody was like, oh, actually,
Yeah.
this is doing what we wanted it to.
Yeah, you still gave the
Um,
influencer the content that they needed, right? And
yep.
Adidas still got the shoes in the hands, and they got the social media impressions, and still had the thing that was highly visible from the highway when people are driving by. So it's a crazy experience. Congrats on getting through it and pushing through it. I mean, weather is a big interruption in everything that we always like to do in the world of events. So it's
Yeah.
it's a big unknown. You referred to this event as the one that broke the camel's back. So was this really like the moment where you decided there has to be a better way to do this, or there has to be a better way for me to do this? Like literally this was the hinge point for you?
This was it. Yeah. And then there was also just kind of life events happening too. I just lost my mom to cancer, and there's like just a lot of
Sorry.
stuff going on. Thank you. And yeah, I just kind of looked at everything and I was like, what's like really worth it for me right now? And me like killing myself to build someone else's dream. Like, no offense to the NVE,
Sure.
like, love them, still love them, very close with them.
Sure.
But I wanted to be in control of what that was, what that direction was going to look like then.
Got it. And so ultimately, I mean, I think out of office came out of this, but was the out of office we know now that we are talking about regularly, is that what was birthed from this moment? How did this experience then lead you towards out of office, I guess?
Yeah.
What are the steps that happened there?
The name, yes, came to me very quickly. Building a life out of the office. Like, what does that look like? And that was like a really scary leap for me to take. My dad's an entrepreneur and a business owner, so I always kind of had that drive to want to do that, but it's scary for sure to kind of believe in yourself and go for it. Just in the last 4 to 5 years, the whole platform idea started to come to life, and building more of a community and a network of freelancers, and then turning that into like agency support. And then now we're moving into brands, working with brand teams and helping them scale through how they do operations for events and all of that.
What I love about people who are in events is ultimately, as shown by this event that you talked about, and a lot of the other people that I interview here, and the work that we do, is we're constantly having to be very efficient problem solvers. And I think what I see from what you're building is a series of tools, a community that can help people solve their problems more quickly and more efficiently. So I love it. I think it's great. I think just the question I'll sort of throw to you there is as you look to build on this, what are the problems that you're hoping that Out of Office can solve for the freelancer or for the agency or even for the client? Like what are the primary problems that you're trying to help everyone solve to make their lives easier?
Yeah. I think the bigger kind of meta mission of it all is to bring more experiences to the world. So like we live in this universe of brands have an idea and they underwrite the budget, and that's kind of the world we live in, and we bring that stuff to life. I think there's kind of one level above as well of like experiences in general. Those can be like semi-permanent, permanent, but it's really important right now for like our culture and like our world where people want to go and experience real life events and things.
Yeah.
And I see our platform being the way to take an idea that you might have and spin up a team and a budget and a schedule and find the right experts who can handle these crazy things that happen. So if you've got your idea to build a black mirrored structure in the middle of the desert, like let's go find you the people who have done that before. And they're the experts. They can come in, and with doing that and simplifying the connection to all the right experts and the right data and the right insights, I think we can help just bring more experiences to everybody, which is like my ultimate goal.
Right. Trying to break down the barriers to bringing experiences to life to begin with.
Yeah.
If 2026 Brad could go back and talk to 2018 stuck in the car at 140 mile per hour winds Brad, and share a bit of insight and intelligence, like what would you have needed to hear at that point in time, or what would you wish you had known in it then?
I think a lot of people listening can relate in our industry. The team that you have on site with you, like when you're when people in our industry are put to these crazy stress levels, and it happens every day. Like there's probably an event today that is going off the rails. The people who are there with you on site, those are still my friends to this day. And like, I was just out at Comic-Con and I had another kind of wind situation, and I was like, oh my God, how am I going to fix this? I called my buddy who was like 6 blocks away, who was on that job site with me, and he ran over for like 30 minutes and helped me climb a truss and like fix something really quick. So it's kind of like you go through these insanely stressful moments and you don't realize it, but those people, like, they have your back forever. Like you go through those kind of moments together, and like those are your people.
Oh, tremendous camaraderie, and you can never forget being in the trenches of that experience together.
Right.
Like, and that is a bond.
And I think that's why I love that I've built something for our industry, so I can still help people work through big challenges and give some guidance and insight.
That's awesome. Well, it's clear you obviously still love the industry and are staying part of it and carving out a new path there. So that's great. I'm really excited to see what comes next from Out of Office. I'm excited about our partnership, and we get to continue to work together. And I'm glad we got to have this conversation today.
Me too.
One of the things I love about this industry is that success is never about perfect execution or a perfect plan. It's about what happens when the plan falls apart. I think, Brad, we talked about a perfect example of that today. Brad and his team didn't save the original activation. They just simply built a new one overnight, and they are true events people. Thanks so much, Brad, for sharing your story, and thank you for supporting In the Unlikely Event. Thank you to everybody who's listening. I'm Rick Kiley, and we'll see you next time when the next unlikely thing goes surprisingly right. Thanks for listening to In the Unlikely Event, where we unpack the moments that went wrong and celebrate the people who made them right. If you enjoyed today's episode, make sure to subscribe on YouTube, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or wherever you listen. And hey, while you're at it, drop us a review or share this episode with a fellow event pro who's been through their own little disaster. You can catch more great content by following Unlikely Event on YouTube, Unlikely Event Pod on Instagram and TikTok, and Soho EXP on LinkedIn. I'm Rick Kiley, and I'll see you next time, right here on In the Unlikely Event.